corner and a bipedal figure that seems to be covered
Number
in hair
2, Cliff.
runs across the road in front of them. The police officer had a dash camera running 24/7, or at least when the car's on, like all police officers do, and they captured this thing on video. It turns out that the police officer has a friend, this guy who's a Bigfooter, and this Bigfooter's name is Matt Pruitt, who grew up in Georgia. So this particular police officer contacted Matt Pruitt and said, "Hey Matt, this happened. Maybe you're right, and Bigfoots are real." And Matt, eventually spoke to him, etc. And the footage got leaked. Eventually, found its way into various people's hands, and we had an opportunity to go investigate it. After the footage was obtained, the police, I guess the chief or whoever is in charge, he's a sheriff, so I don't know what the deputy, I don't know what the head cop at the cop shop, went and supposedly he went driving through the area. He told us that he found 2 kids at the time who claimed, who said that they knew about the footage. And then he went on to say that his father, one of these kids' fathers, came down to the police station and showed a photograph of these kids with an ape suit. What? Now, that's the story, and that's the whole truth. However, we knocked on doors there. We asked the neighbors there, "Are you aware of any children living nearby?" And no children are living nearby. These kids, whoever they are, one of them is supposedly unavailable because he's away at college. The other one is supposedly in Afghanistan right now. The man who supposedly showed the police officer the picture with the kids in the ape suit, they won't give us his name. And the officer that says that all this happened doesn't have a photograph or any record anywhere of the conversation. So is it true? Is it not true? I don't know. I really don't know. I'm not a conspiracy guy. I'm not interested in cover-ups and all that sort of thing. Maybe they didn't want the attention. Maybe that's the truth. But the fact is, what we have is a video. Mm-hmm. It's like the Patterson-Gimlin film. Mm-hmm. Renee DeHindenoy said, what you need to know is right there on the film. And that's what we have here. We did our best to uncover the background information on it. We got nowhere. So now we have the film. So once again, we set out to try to recreate it. Have you guys seen the film? Raise your hand if you have not.
Oh.
Not? Okay, I think, if I remember right, I was pretty tired. I was up till 2 in the morning doing this at night. I think I have the video in the next frame, so I'll go there and I'll come right back, okay? No. There it is. Yeah, right there. It's real quick. Right there. And clearly, it's a bipedal figure, and it's really grainy because resolution on cop cameras aren't that great. But it's there. Mary and the police officer, both have been thoroughly interviewed, by the way. Both claim that it was very large, moving very, very fast, clearly on 2 legs. So, I'll go back to that in a minute. But anyway, there we go. This is where the thing crossed the road. Bobo's there, putting his arm above his head, because we put Mary in Mary's the witness, by the way, the ride-along. The police officer was unable to be there that day. So we put her in about the right spot, and then Bobo stood there and said, "Well, about this big," and she then goes, "Yeah, probably about that big." And it was about 7 feet, according to Mary. This is, over here is a picture from where the creature started from, running across the road to the left, or to the left of that guardrail, and then down into the ravine. Here's a Google map of this area. I exaggerated the terrain in hopes that you might be able to tell what was going on, but it was coming out of this side and going down into the ravine here. This is what the creature would have seen. They would not have seen the car, by the way. They would not have seen the car come around the trail, or not the trail, but the curve yet. And then I also took some measurements at the site. I have quite a few measurements from that site, actually. 140 inches halfway across the road, because I wanted to try to find out how fast this thing was moving. This is the area that it went into. So I measured the guardrail. It's 32 inches tall. This is a picture of the ravine that it disappeared into. And then something that they don't talk about in the dash cam footage. By the way, you should really check it out, because one of the more compelling things about this footage is the audio. There's a conversation going on between the police officer and Mary, and when they see this thing, it's very, very clear that they are very surprised by it. They go, oh, did you see that? Holy crap, you know, and it's hilarious, it's totally great. And then they turn around and come back to the spot, and you should check it out, it's pretty good. But what they don't talk about in there in the audio is this barbed wire fence. There's a barbed wire fence just right off the road. The thing had to clear it. There is a possibility that it went down this way, but the police officer came back with its spots on in that area, and I think they would have seen it. And also they were saying that a tree was still moving where the thing went over this tree. But anyway, the barbed wire fence is like, the pole is 54 inches tall, and right here, the barbed wire is 48 inches, but down here where the sag is 39 inches. But still, I mean, that's this big. Now, if you're a teenage boy wearing a monkey suit, okay, so you're in good athletic shape probably, but you're still wearing a monkey suit. It's not exactly easy to move over barbed wire like that. You know? And plus it's rusty, you know. Kids are stupid, but still. Take that from a teacher. Okay, here we go again. This is the video, I'll just let it run real fast. And after this, there's a few second pause, and then you see the recreation where Bobo ran across the road. And we put a camera in a car going 55 miles per hour, approaching it. Now, Bobo did 2 runs, and I did 2 runs. But again, only one of Bobo's runs made it into the final TV series. And I can say, without a doubt, it was scary. When I was getting ready to run across the road like Bobo is right here, and I saw those car lights coming at me, it was crazy. I couldn't imagine, imagine wearing an ape suit and a mask and doing that. No. Infinitely stupid. I was scared of just tripping or stumbling, and you know, I mean, Moneymaker wasn't driving, thank God, but I mean, Renee was. Well, if you've ever driven with Moneymaker, you know what I'm talking about. Or seen the Saget thing. What I did here is I took 3 different frames where I thought I could see the figure more clearly than in the other frames. And it's still very, very difficult to see, and I did my best to do estimates on size. Now, I did 3 trials. Using the distance from the center line to the side of the road, 140 inches, I used that, and I counted pixels. I said 140 inches represents X number of pixels. And then I set up a simple ratio, and then I counted the pixels of how tall Bobo was, and also how tall the figure was. You know, it's a very, very simple, easy mathematical way to get some rough estimates. Now, mind you, these are extremely rough estimates, but hopefully they're going to shed some sort of light on this for us. What I got here for the first one is that the figure height in this particular picture was 73 inches by my calculations. However, Bobo running was 53 inches. Bobo is 6'4" tall. That's 76 inches. Now, of course, he doesn't run fully erect, and as you can see that he's bending over to some degree, and he's also running with a bent knee. So even then, Bobo is not that tall when he runs. Bobo's probably in this range. So I don't know if my errors hold true for both the figure and Bobo, but clearly Bobo's height estimate is far less than what he actually is. Now, I'm speculating that perhaps my height estimate for the figure is also off by a similar margin of error, but I don't know that. Second run, I got the figure height of 74 inches, which I like because it's very, very close to my first estimate. And then Bobo's was 54 inches, which I like because, again, they're falling in line. I'm starting to see a pattern here. Third time, 69, which is great because 73, 74, 69, I'm real close. And then Bobo's 49 inches, which is even smaller. So again, there's some error going on, and I suspect it has something to do with it, the plane of the camera, basically, because it's not exactly perpendicular to my frame of reference. There's a slight angle in there, and I suspect that's where the error lies, but I don't know that. I averaged them all out. The average height of the figure is 72 inches, and the average height of Bobo is 52 inches. Now, clearly, Bobo's a lot taller than that, so like I said, so maybe my error actually increases the height of the figure as well. I don't know. And you know what? And since I'm saying I don't know so much, I'd like to make it a point as a Bigfoot community, it's okay not to know things. Like, don't say things that you think that, I know this. No, you don't. We know very little. Just say, I don't know, and when you're wrong, that's okay too. I wanted to calculate the speed of the figure. I thought the best way to do it was go back to the original police officer footage, because there's a clock, you don't see it up here, but there's a clock ticking. So what I did is I counted the number of frames it took for 1 second to elapse. and it turns out that it's 26 frames per second.